Alright, greetings everybody. Before we get started, I'd like to say hello to everybody at Flickr. There's some amazing photography work you've been sharing and I've been rather enjoying it, and I'd like to give a directed hello to Jeff and Gio and Ash and everybody else in the group photo sharing pool of Arachnatoba. So anyways, as promised, here's the bare bones setup. What I've basically erected here is a very simple and easy corral, if you will, for containing your spiders and insects and small little critters. This is essentially a macro studio or miniature studio for doing macro insect photography. And the materials I'm using is really simple. These are laminate materials you'll find in the kitchen and bath industry. They use this as a coating top surface material for your countertops and kitchen tables, things of that nature. And the front fence here is actually plexiglass or perspex, and the reason why I chose to go with this is because it is clear and translucent. It allows me to see any activity that's going on the back side, as well as in addition to shining additional light from your lamp sources or even handheld flashlights. Now, I did decide to go with a very basic and simple two-sided arrangement, a half circle if you will. And the elegance and simplicity of this is that it's only affixed with Scotch tape. I do recommend going with the higher quality clear version as opposed to the lower quality opaque. This has a tendency to not work very well. So everything is simply put together with the tape. You want to do multiple layers, crossing back and forth, as well as going on the vertical. In this case I did 4 layers just to ensure nothing comes apart or rips. Now, I did opt to go with an open bottom. The reasons for that will be clear as we proceed. I also recommend taping off your corners, and this would come in sort of handy when you're moving around if you accidentally bump it and your corner overhangs your working surface area. You just got a little extra added protection there. The bottom here is the same laminate material, in this case a base white. It is approximately 16 inches by 2 feet in length. This is a size arbitrarily relative to the work area that I got set up here, which is a captain's desk. Now, one of the things I like about this situation here is that while this is more or less a permanent setup, it does allow me the feasibility of changing my backgrounds with additional laminate materials due to however I want to stage my my photography setup, depending on the color of the insects involved and what effect I'm going for. And to put these into play, it's a rather simple process. Before actually putting in, I recommend using some tracing paper. This will act as a scratch sheet to protect the finished surface on each and every additional layer. And it's literally as simple as dropping into place and you're good to go, and there's nothing else involved, no time or effort expended. And taking it out is just as easy as putting it in. There are all kinds of various colors, designs that you can work with when it comes to laminate material. A lot of this stuff I acquired for free. A lot of your kitchen and bath companies will actually have this as scrap material that they end up throwing away. Check your local listings and contact them. They may give you this stuff for free. If not, you can acquire this stuff at your local hobby shops, your hardware stores, and big box stores. So anyways, one of the nice things about the open bottom is that not only can I use the white surface to begin with, but as I'm going along in the process, I may want to change things up and start adding contrast and comparison with different materials. In this case, I've got another piece of plexiglass, and this is a nice rigid flat surface to work off of. From there I can continually add more layers and achieve desired results from the effects. Black on black, I can add an opaque layer, and the opaque on top of the black actually creates a pretty respectable gray working area, which will add a nice soft contrast to the reflective black surface as a backdrop. Now, another benefit to the open bottom area is that you've got to introduce your subject into the photography arena with the least amount of effort and pain as possible. So I can take this, remove it from my area, and let's say we've got your subject, in this case a rather ugly yet rare specimen. I think I'll call it Plasticus azule from the family Twistitias, and I'm using just a simple disposable Tupperware. I've got about 3 of these that I have on hand, and I found that having more than one is very, very helpful. So the basic idea is to capture and close your subject, and from there you want to be able to further entrap them and create a enclosure that is not only portable but somewhat securely locked in place. Whether you capture these guys on your kitchen floor or out on your patio, you'll find that a little bit extra security precaution goes an awful long way. Now when it comes time to release them into the photography environment, you can set this down, pull your slip out, place your corral around the Tupperware, and then from there remove your Tupperware, and you're pretty much ready to start taking pictures. And when it comes time, you're done with your photo shoot. When it comes time to recapture them, you're just reversing the process by simply placing the Tupperware around them, sliding this underneath. At some point you'll get them in, and you can turn it upside down, transport it, leave it down, and this isn't going to get knocked off. This is just some simple heavy-duty cardstock that most of our junk mail is printed on. If you take a close look here, you'll see all I did was fold it up, bend around the locking lip edge, basically a C channel. This is specifically designed to get a nice tight lock on the Tupperware lip, and as you see, it works out pretty well, and it doesn't require any major time or investment to put together something feasible. Now, of course, in every miniaturized environment, you're going to have some tools and accoutrements that go along with maintenance and upkeep. In this case, I like to use some artist brushes. In this case, this would work well as a broom to sweep off dust and lint. This is just another variation upon the theme. Works just the same principle as your dusting brooms. And then for closer work, I like to use 2 brushes that have been taped together. One's got a fine tip, soft bristle on one end. The other one's a little bit more fluffier for actually pushing around the bug and trying to keep them in the enclosure. This side works really well for touching them and maybe cleaning off little bits and pieces, making very light contact. This is very effective for introducing yourself to the subject and getting them used to understanding that you're not a threat to their safety and health and welfare. In addition to that, I found that these elongated tweezers come in very useful for not only picking out lint and hair and any other debris on the subject, but you might also find it useful for feeding your spiders, say some swatted houseflies. Very effective tool to have just in case. So from there, you want to, before you actually set up your full arrangement, you definitely want to kind of have an idea of your staged environment, what you're going to achieve. In this case, you've got your base, you've got your perimeter. You may want to introduce some props, organic elements, rocks, feathers, leaves, anything that you might come across outside or while you're out on your photographic hikes. I found that rocks of all different varying shapes and sizes have been very helpful in achieving some interesting results in my macro photography work. I do like to have at least one pedestal or platform that will help elevate the subject up and off the floor. Depending on what insect you're working with, you can always cover that pedestal with a dead leaf or any other vegetation or suitable item. From there, no matter what you got available, whether it's various different types of rocks or driftwood, whether it's in a natural form, sanded, it always helps to have a comparative element that will help enhance the overall finished result of your photography work. So again, having multiple layers here will become very useful, as you'll see, in being able to reposition your subject as they move all about inside the perimeter of the corral. You can use multiple bases to turn. Not only you can use the base to turn, but you can also use your perimeter wall to help reposition your shot, as well as adjust your scratch sheet or your base sheet back and forth to help make those necessary adjustments to your focus without having to reposition the tripod or make adjustments on your lens. All of these options really do help increase the feasibility and ease of getting that right shot.